Hello everyone. In this video, we'll create backend for our Stopwatch application using Node.js and Express.js with the help of the tools like GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. So first, let's have a demo of the API calls which we will be making in this video. So these are the API calls which we will be creating in this video. So first one is to get all the stocks of a country. So as you can see, will be generating all the stocks which are available in the exchanges of Indian stock exchanges, that is NSE and BSE. So as you can see, we have generated an array of values in the format of JSON. So as you can see, Nippon India Mutual Fund and multiple kinds of stocks we are able to generate it. And coming to the next one, we'll be getting the details of a particular stock. So as you can see, we need to give the stock symbol. So for now, let's say I want to get the details of Infosys stock. So I'll give the symbol INFY and make the API call. So as you can see, uh, we have generated the time series data value like at the time of 250. The open price, like the stock price, is currently around 1380, and similarly at 245 it was same, yeah, 1380 and 94 paise. Yeah, similar to that. As you can see, like we have generated the values, and the next API call is to add the stock to the watch list. So we'll be creating a watch list and we can add stocks to it, so that all our favorite stocks, or like all the stocks which we want to watch their price, are under the same roof. So let's say I want to add HDFC Bank um, to the watch list. So I'll be giving the HDFC Bank in the API call, and it would be added to the uh, watch list. And finally, we will be getting the watch list from the MongoDB database. So as you can see, like we'll be getting the details of all the stocks which are present in that particular watch list. So these are the API calls which we will be creating today. So let's begin. So first, create an empty folder, create a new folder and name it anything like Stopwatch. I have given it Stopwatch backend, and then you can open the terminal. So I'll be using the inbuilt terminal in the VS Code. So first we need to create the package.json file. So for that we can use npm init command, and it will be generating a package.json file, like initiate everything. So I'll be giving the package name stopwatch backend version. You can leave all of them on default. And yeah, so I have generated the package.json file. So one more thing we need to do in this JSON file is to add a new script to okay, first we'll install the dependencies and then we can do this. So we need to install three dependencies: Express.js, Nodemon, and Mongoose. So we'll be installing them. So the commands for installing are like npm install express. It should install Express.js. Next, npm install Nodemon. And since we'll be using MongoDB database, we also need to install the Mongoose dependencies. So to install that, npm install Mongoose. Yeah, so once we have installed the dependencies, you need to add a script over here. Can So that when we enter the npm start command in the terminal, the our server would be running. So for that, you can use the start. And as you can see, the GitHub Copilot has already suggested us with the command nodemon index.js. Okay, so from the previous one, we need to give a comma since we are adding the scripts to that array. Sorry, not. And then yeah, save it. Control plus S, and it will save the file. So yeah, like after installing the dependencies and add the script, we'll start with creating the model class. So you can create a folder for that model, and inside that we'll create a model class for our stock.js. Yeah, so for the model class we require Mongoose, so we'll import it. Const Mongoose equal to require Mongoose, and yeah, we need to define a schema for it, so it will be const schema and Mongoose. So since we'll be creating the stock schema, so you can see it has the GitHub Copilot has generated a suggestion for us, and we can use it. So inside this we'll have like the stock, so stock, and can get the curly braces, and the stock name would be like in the type string. So yeah, string required true. Mm, yeah. So we'll currently only save the stock symbol. So yeah, just the stock string type is sufficient. So after this, we need to export this module also. So first we'll save the schema. So const stock mongoose.model, and so this particular schema is being saved, and we'll need to export it so that we can use this file in other files, like in the controller and the routes we'll be needing the model, so we can use it over there. So in order to use it over there, we need to export this module. So module.export. Yeah, our model class has been created. Now we need to create the controller class. So let's create a folder for our controller, and inside that create a new controller file, stockController.js. So inside controller we'll be using Express.js. We can give the comment to generate the code for that. So we'll be generating the controller for stock to get the stock data from uh, database, and also we'll be using 12 data API. So 12 data from API. So initially we first need to import the, yes. So since this is a controller, we'll be like, sorry, import the model stock first. So we have created it earlier. So we'll just import it on the model stock.js. Yeah. So first we'll be like get all stock data of a country using 12 data API. Mm, yeah. So let's see if it generates us any code for this. Mm. Okay, so the GitHub Copilot suggests the code to get the data from the database, but we don't have any stocks data in the database. Instead, we'll be using an external API called 12 Data API. So we can, um, so instead of GitHub Copilot, in this scenario, we can use ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is also a tool which helps us to give suggestions and also code snippets. So here we can use the help of the chat GPT to generate the code snippet. So first we'll get all stocks data of a country using 12 data API in Node.js. Since we are using the Node.js language, it's better to specify it. So let's see chat GPT gives us any response for it. So yeah, as you can see, it's giving us detailed steps like how we can we can need to sign up in the 12 data website to in order to get the API access, and also as you can see it gives us detailed instructions on how we can get that. So let's see. Okay, so it has generated the response for us and it will work. So first we need to register ourselves in the 12 data API and get a free access for that. So I have already registered myself and I have already entered my data. So once you register, you will be greeted in this home page, and here you can view your API keys and the API calls which you have made. So currently we are using the free version of it, so we don't have much access to the premium plans like some of the stocks access we won't be having, and also the number of API calls which we can make in a particular period of time is low. So that should be sufficient for the tutorial purpose. So it's fine. So yeah, once you register over here, make sure you copy the API key, and yeah, we'll be. It suggests us to use Axios for making the API calls, so that's fine. So let's first install it. So we can get rid of this code since we won't be using this, and npm install Axios. Yeah, so after installing it, it's suggests us to use this code. So um, let us once go through this code. So first we are importing the Axios dependency which we have installed, and then we store the API key in a constant variable, and also it suggests us to give the country code in a constant variable too, and then we save the URL for the API call, and using Axios we make the API call and save that particular response. So yeah, so we'll tweak this code a little bit, like since this code it's saving the response data into the console.log, so it will show it over there, but we don't want it inside the console.log. Instead, we want that JSON data to be returned to our front end, so that we can show the data in the front end side, like in the graphs or um, in the front end we can show the data. So we'll tweak it a little bit. So first let us copy this code and we'll go to our code base. So let us paste the code, and here you can paste your API key. So for that you can go to the 12 data and can copy this API key and paste it over here inside the, yeah, and country code. We don't really need to save this into the constant, since like we want to dynamically use that in the API call itself. So yeah, so API URL also we have. So let's create a function for this. Const get all stocks of a country. So yes, in using Axios, we can use this API call, but instead of outside of the function, we can use this inside of the function, and also, and yeah, and for the country code, instead of the giving it from a static variable, we can use it a dynamic. So we can use request.params.country, which the copilot suggested. So um, what happens here is in the API call which we have shown here. So yeah, so in the API call we have shown localhost 8000 slash stock slash country slash India. So the last value whichever you give, it will use it inside this API call, inside this country variable. So here it will be taken. So it is dynamic instead of having a static value like a hard coded value already being here. So instead of having just a single country, if we make it dynamic, we can use any country symbol which required. So that, yeah. const country, and we'll be using the country variable. And API key is already generated here, so we can remove this code. And yeah, instead of console log the data, we will also be returning it restore status. So this restore status 200.json response data. So this shows that this means that it will be returning HTTP status code of 200, and also the response data will be returned in the form of JSON format. And if there are any errors, if you give any wrong country symbol, then the error would be caught in this API call, and it will be it will be logged inside the console. So yes, so this is the API call for the getting stocks of all country. Now using the ChatGPT, will be using the same to get a stock data of a particular country. So for that, you can maybe search get stock data of of any country, right? So country name is not required, so we can use get stock data using 12 data API in Node.js. Yeah, so similar to our previous response, it has generated the similar code like the API key, and the API URL, and the Axios fetch API is also similar to the ones which we have used in the previous API call. The only difference is here we will be adding more variables such as symbol, interval, and output size. Um, so, yeah, we have already installed Axios, so we can just copy this code and go to our VS Code. And we'll create a new function. So, get stock data using tool data API. So as you can see, it has generated a response already. So yeah, mm, so here also similar to the country variable which we have used in the previous API call, which we will be getting from the API itself. Here we'll be using that symbol, and then API key also we have displayed it over here. We have saved it, and then Axios.get API URL. Then we console.log it and give it a response. So yes, this looks fine to me. So let's create our next API call then. Uh, add stock to database. So this const addStock and new stock, and it is being added to the database. And next will be like get all stock data from the database. Uh, get all stocks. I think we have used it earlier now. Get all stocks of country, so that's fine. Add stock, get all stocks. And we don't find. Yeah. So yes, so this API call the add stock one add the stock to our watchlist, and the get all stocks function will return all the stocks present in our database. Yeah. After this, then we can export. We need to export all these modules. So module dot exports dot get all stocks of country, get stock data, add stock, and get all stocks. So we have created four functions, and we are exporting all those. So we have generated the stock model, and we have also created a controller where we stored all the business logic to get the stocks from using an external API and also saving the stocks to the database. So now what we need to do is like we need to create a route so that we can specify the URL which we'll be using to return the data or to post the data. So we can create a new folder named routes and can create a new file, routes.js. So over here you can, yeah, so for the routes we require Express.js, and since like we use a functionality of Express called router, so for that we need to import the router first. So we require uh, Express, sorry, first const Express equal to require Express, and then const router express dot router. Yeah, we will be importing the stock controller. So on stock controller, yes. So we need to get all the stock data of a country using 12 data API. So we'll be like specifying all the routes which we have used. So router dot get stocks, get all stocks of a country. Yes, and next one is to get all get stock data using 12 data API. So for this router dot get stock symbol and stock controller dot get stock data, yes, and add stock to the database. It should be router dot post slash stock and stock controller dot add stock. Perfect. And get all stock data from the database. We use router dot get stocks from stock database. So yeah, since we have used here stock, we'll use the same just to maintain the consistency. And finally, we need to export this router. So module.exports and router. So we have created the routes for our controller, and now we need to create an index.js file where we package all these routes and like create a backend server. So in the root directory, create a new file called index.js, and inside this we need to set up Express.js and Node.js server, and also we need to set up the Mongoose. So we'll just write a command for that to set up Express Node.js server and Mongoose. So first we use const express require express, then we import the Mongoose, const Mongoose equal to require Mongoose. Then we need to set up Express Node.js server. Yes, we can go ahead. Const app equal to express, and port number we can give 3000. Then we set up Mongoose, const db equal to mongoose dot connection, and we connect it to an external database. Um, use new URL parser true and use unified topology true, and close the brackets. And then no, we have already set up the Node.js server, so we need not use it again. So instead we'll set up the Express middleware. Set up Express middleware, which is app.use express.json. And next set up the routes. So we'll be first importing the routes file and use slash API. We'll be using like we will give the default path only, and we'll be using the express the router which we just defined over here. And finally we'll start the server app.listen to port, and server is running on the particular port. So Yeah, so now we have finished the coding part, and let's see if the backend server is now running. So for that, you can uh, enter npm start, and the server should be running. Yeah, so as you can see, server is running on port 3000. So let's check if the routes are working. So to get all stocks of a country, you need to specify localhost 3000, and we'll get the data of India. Okay, yeah. One error which I found is, see, we have, so as you can see in the router for the getting all stocks of the country, we have given the URL slash stocks slash country. But here in the API call, I have given stocks country and India, so I need to remove this country part. And now the API call should work. Yeah, so as you can see, we have generated the list of arrays of all the stocks available in the Indian Stock Exchange, both NSE and BSE. So we'll test check the next API call to get the details of the stock. So for that we are given slash stock slash symbol. So localhost 3000 slash stock, and get the info symbol. So let me clear the previous response just to make sure we are getting the response correct. So send, and yeah, as you can see, we are generating the data of the Infosys stock. Okay. And the next one is to add the stock to a database. So add stock to the watch list. Again, localhost 3000 slash stock, and in the header, yes, in the body, sorry, not header, in the body, JSON stock, and give the symbol name. Let's say I want to have the Infosys. I want to save the Infosys. So stock INFY, and let's see if it works. Yeah. So it has stored the data in the database, and let me try to add another stock. Let's say TCS. Mm, And now let's see in the MongoDB database if anything is being saved. So as you can see, inside the stock DB, inside the stock, um, we have saved the Infosys and TCS which we have just added the stocks. It is being saved in the MongoDB database. So, and coming to the final API call, get all the stocks. It is get slash stock. So we'll get localhost 3000 slash stock. Yes. So as you can see, which I showed just now in the MongoDB compass, you can see that we have saved Infosys and TCS, so both are being returned. So as you can see, like we have made a 4 successful APIs using ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. That's it from this video, guys. Thank you all.